Hi, everybody. Listen, I just wanted to do a little video on dancer counts versus musician beats and how do they work out? How do they work together? How do you count them both? 4/4, 2/4, 3/4, some of those basics that give you a fabulous groundwork for learning about future music types. Cool? So without further ado, dancer counts versus musicians beats. So first of all, dancer counts are understood through what you hear. You're not looking at dancer counts ever. You write them out, right? You're like, okay, on the 1, I'm doing this. On 2, I'm doing that. On 3, they're going to do this. It's what you hear in the music. So taking a look here, duple meter is the dancer count with a sound in between, the and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. See, it's using that and in between. That clarifies for you right away that it's duple meter. If it's for allegro, and 1 and 2 and 3, the and is really short before you're back on a dancer count. If it's for pliés, 1 and 2 and pressing, then it's slower, right? That's your duple meter. Alternatively, if you add an ah in that little space between your dancer counts, so 1 and ah, now you're into triple meters. So all your waltzes, your 6/8 allegro, your minuet, those are all triple meters. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and if you speed it up, it becomes a 6/8. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 1. Do you hear it? It's just triple meter sped up. That's what a 6/8 is. That's how it feels to you as a teacher and as a dancer. Carrying on, take a look at this. This is your 3/4. So you've got 1 and a. That's your dancer count for one measure of music. 1 and a. My musician beats are 1, 2, 3. The next measure, if I had enough space, if our screens were long and skinny, you would see 2 and a for the dancer counts. But the musician's beats just go back to 1, 2, 3. So your dancer counts carry on all the way to 8, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It goes all the way to 8. Musicians beats 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. That's all it is. It's endless 1, 2, 3s. Now, what's really awesome about triple meter is that the amount of dancer counts you want is the amount of measures or bars of music that your musician will use. So if you want 32 counts of a waltz, that is 32 measures or bars of music. Does that make sense? Do you follow that? Because they both come back to 1 at the beginning of the measure. And at the end of the measure, it's been one measure. It's been one dancer count. Cool? Let's see what this looks like. Let me just show you some notes for a second because I think it'll help. So there's your beats. There's your basic quarter notes. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Obviously, we don't always play 3 quarter notes, but we have that amount of time in the music. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Whereas for you, 1 and 1. And 2 and 3 and 4. That was actually 8. I jumped in the middle there. But do you hear the dancer counts? You're going to have 8 measures of music for 8 counts of dancer counts. Cool? Now, don't worry. I'm not leaving you here with only the triple meter. Let's take a look at duple meter because that's actually where it starts to get a little dicey for many teachers. If it's dicey for you, don't worry, you're not alone. It's very common. And here's why. In one measure or bar of music, if you look at this, you can see there are 2 dancer counts. So 1 and 2 and. There are the dancer counts on the top there. But in the bottom, the musician has 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what gets really muddled is if you're trying to think how many measures you want, and you're like, well, I have 16 counts. Taking a look at this, if you have 16 counts of music, how many bars do you have? If you said 8 in your mind, you're spot on right. If you said 32, you're doing your math the wrong way, oppositely. So 2 dancer counts are happening in one measure of a 4/4. Here it is. Here's the sound of it. Now what happens is, before I play for a second here, if I keep going, if we do a second bar of music, your dancer counts continue on, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? The dancer counts just keep going. The musician's beats will start back at 1 because it's a new measure or a new bar of music. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. On and on it goes. Okay, here you go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5 and 6 and 7, 8 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did you hear the dancer counts versus the musician's beats? Let's take a look at what that looks like. If you look here, I've given you 4 quarter notes. You'll notice that the 1 and the 3 of the musician beats are bigger. I made them purposefully a little bit bigger, and that is because they are more accented. We don't give the same weight to every beat. Otherwise, there would be no musicianship. There would be no shape. The sound would not be interesting. No one would want to listen to it because it would all sound the same. So we always give more weight on the 1 and the 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And magically, those weights on those beats line up with your dancer counts. Is that a surprise? Or does that actually harken back to what I talked about in the beginning, where accents determine your dancer counts? When you listen to music, that's really what's guiding your ear and your brain to count your dancer counts. It's really interesting. It's so musical, dancer counts. What I like to do is put that knowledge put that feeling and that intuition into something that's knowledge, something that you can actually see on the paper and understand. So here you go. Here's your 4/4. You can see it on the top. You've got 4 quarter notes, or you've got those 4 teal boxes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Each one of those has a value of a quarter note. On the second line, I showed you a 2/4. This is your allegro. 1 and 2 and. Now, we wouldn't normally use quarter notes because that would be really boring. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. It's kind of boring, right? So we tend to use eighth notes, which is cutting a quarter note in half, which makes it, let me just think for a second. 1 and 2 and those little quick guys are even smaller notes. So this is your 2/4. It's 2 quarter notes per measure. What's awesome about it is that it counts the same for the dancer counts as it does for the musician. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and the musician's got 2 quarter notes. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Dancer counts, you're going to keep going, right? You're going to go all the way to 8. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. Let's take a look at what it looks like. There you go. So there's your quarter notes. You've got 2 quarter notes and you have a little and after each one of them. I threw that in there so you could see the rhythm of it. 1 and 2 and. Do you see why this would be considered duple meter? The same as the 4/4? I'm doing this, it's not, some people call the 4/4 like a quadruple meter. I'm keeping it really simple because, especially for ballet teachers, it really boils down to, is it a 3 or a 2? Is it divisible by 3 or by 2? And depending on that is really going to help you figure out what you're listening to and how to use it. So this is the 2/4 duple meter. And you can see the little bar line and then it carries on. So the dancer counts keep going, right? 1 and 2 and on the other side of the bar line, 3 and 4. It just keeps going. Whereas the musician is back to 1. And we might want to have a recap, hey? I feel like, let me just throw this up there for you because, hello, I'm still learning how to use this awesome gadget. There we go. So there's the recap of all of it. So here's 8 counts. You've got 8 counts of triple meter and 8 counts of duple meter. And you can see right here how they play out differently. The triple meter, you've got dancer counts and then the and between every one of them. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Musician beats and counts. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, on and on. If you get into duple meter, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Whereas a musician, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Does that make sense? They're really, when you look at it this way, it really boils the music down very simply to 2 feelings. And that helps, I think, in discerning what you're listening to and what you might want to use. If you have an and between each dancer count, that's giving you more time for the movement, right? Whereas if you have just the and between dancer counts, your dancers don't have a lot of time between the counts to get to wherever you want them on the next count. So you would pick according to what suits the movement that you're doing. So how does knowing all of this help me or you to count mazurkas and tarantellas and polkas and hornpipes and polonaises and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Well, stick with me. I have a music training course, and if you haven't heard of it yet, you are now hearing about it. And if you have heard about it, what you just learned from me is the cusp of all of the training I do inside of the course. The course is very, very builds on what you just learned. So everything that you just learned, everything that, like taking that knowledge, taking those counts, taking the beats, and then I apply that to all the different kinds of music. So polkas, we talk about polkas. What does the rhythm look like? How do we count it? There's recordings inside of the course that you can listen to and count along with. Then we talk about what kind of exercises could this music be really great for? Because you may not know. You may think, oh, I don't really know how to use this music. Well, then we talk about that. That is in step 3. So step 1, you look kind of like what we just did. You get to see the rhythm of that specific kind of music. How do you count it? What does it look like? What do the beats look like compared to what do the dancer counts look like? How does that all work together? Step 2 is listening to it and counting it. That's going to help because if you're going to use it in class, you got to know how to count it, right? You got to know how to use it with your voice, how to count it in a way that's very clear. For a pianist, for your dancers, for everyone in the studio, it's going to make your classes a lot faster, a lot more streamlined, right? And then step 3 is use it. Make an exercise that's suitable for that music. And try running it, try teaching it. Teach it enough that you could comfortably walk into a studio and actually use that music. So I use this 3-step program, this 3-step process to teach 20 different kinds of music inside of the official music training course. As well, we learn about working with the pianist. So what are the ways of communicating really clearly? Because the more clear you are, the better that experience is going to be for both of you, right? Because your pianist is listening. We want to know what you want. But if you're not able to communicate that clearly, we end up having a break in communication and your pianist doesn't play really what you want. And it just drags out the class, right? It makes it slow. So the more efficient you can be in your marking and teaching, your pianist will be like, I got it. I know exactly what you want. So we talk about that. That's in module 6. And then way back at the beginning, module 1 actually talks about how to read a piece of sheet music. What does some of that stuff on the page mean? I'm not teaching you to play piano. I'm helping you understand when you're looking at a page of sheet music, what does the stuff on it mean to you? The stuff that's valuable to you. It's not all valuable to you. You're not a piano player necessarily. But I do give you what you do need to know so that it's not like you're looking at a page of Latin. I don't know Latin, so for me, that would be kind of what it feels like. So there you go. Have a wonderful day. And this course is opening up for registration this weekend. I am running a sale. Sale 20 is a discount code that you can use on the sale of this weekend when it opens up. We're going to be a speed run because I feel like everyone's going to be stuck at home for Christmas. So if you're going to be stuck at home, you might as well be doing something that's going to make your 2021 that much better, right? Am I right? Probably. So yeah, I just figured, well, since we're all going to be at home anyway, we might as well run this course. So I'm going to do it 1 week per module. We're going to fly through it. Boom, 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 boom. Hopefully you have time sitting at home to like suck it all up and do it all. And we have a Facebook group where we get to hang out together. And I do weekly Facebook Lives to answer any questions that there are. And that's it. Have a great day. Bye.